I've been using the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus and the Anker 548 power bank for quite some time now, testing them out, and I'm here today to compare the two so that you can get a good idea of which one is better at what type of applications and help you decide which one you want. Now, they're both in the same ballpark price, both about $149 retail. They both go on sale for around $100 when they go on sale. So if you're in the market for something like this and you've been deciding which one you want to get, go ahead and check out this video and I'll give you the rundown on both of them. Hey everybody, it's Chris from FamilyGeekery, and today we're going to be checking out this Jackery Explorer 100 Plus and this Anker Power Bank 548, which for simplicity reasons I'm just going to refer to as the Jackery and the Anker. And we're going to put these things head to head, and I'm going to talk about what their capabilities are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what you'd likely be using them for, and just wanted to get this video out to help you guys decide which one of these would be a better product for you. So the first thing I think we should talk about is the size. Now, when I say the size, I'm going to talk about both the physical size and the size of the storage, or how much capacity they have, because should be quite obvious that there is a little bit of a difference between these two. This thing is more than double the size of this as far as physical size. It's probably at least twice the weight. It does have a nice little carry handle here to help you with that, but it is quite a bit bigger. This is something that I could easily put on a carry-on bag going on a trip or something. This one I would not try that with, especially since FAA regulations limit you to a certain capacity of lithium ion, and this exceeds that, so don't try that on a plane. But that's going to be the biggest difference between the two, is just sheer size. Now, with the bigger size, of course, comes more capacity. So this one is about 100 watt-hours of capacity, and this one is 192. So you're getting almost double the capacity as far as how much battery power you have to keep your devices running and charge your devices. So that brings up the very first comparison between the two, and that is, if you need this much capacity, then obviously you want to go with the Anker. If you want something that's relatively small and light and easy to carry around, then obviously the Jackery is going to be your product. But where it starts to become a little bit harder to compare is if those two factors aren't your most important things to think about. So if you don't necessarily care about how big it is and you don't necessarily care about what the capacity is, then you want to look at the other features. So the next thing that I'm going to make just an easy comparison for is the number of ports that you got. On the Jackery, you've got 2 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A. And on the Anker, you've got 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A. So if you think about what you want to be charging, how many different devices you want to be charging at the same time, if it's more than this many, then you want to go with this one. So if you've got 2 USB-A cables that you need to plug in, then that's going to kind of drive you in this direction. Now, along with the number of ports, the next thing you might care about is how much power those ports can both input and output. And the surprising thing in this comparison is this one does more in that aspect. So the Jackery has a charging capacity of 100 watts, and that's going to be obviously input into one of the USB-C ports, whereas the Anker caps out at 60 watts. So if you use the bottom USB-C port here as an input, you can use a 60-watt charger and charge it up this way. And when I say that's, the thing that surprised me the most, that's because this one's got almost twice the capacity and it charges slower, so that's kind of a double whammy. Now, someone on my review video of the Anker 548 here said it might be possible to have an input on the solar input and on the USB-C and combine the two to make upwards to 100 watt input. And while that may be true, I just don't see the application where you would be charging this thing over solar but still have some device that would charge it over USB-C. So I don't know, maybe if you had a 100-watt charger in your car and you had a solar panel attached to it, or a 60-watt charger in your car and a 40-watt solar panel or a 50-watt solar panel or something, maybe you'd be able to get a combined input. But I would think that you'd either be charging this up inside your house with a wall charger, or you'd be charging it over solar and not the two at the same time. So in addition to that comparison of 100 watts versus 60 watts input, you've got the same exact comparison for output. So on these USB-C ports here, you've got a maximum 100 watts single port coming out of this thing. And on this one, you've got 60 watts coming out of the USB-C. So the next thing you need to think about is what type of device are you going to be charging with it. If it's going to be a MacBook Pro, one of the really big MacBook Pros that takes 85 or 87 watts, then you may want to go with the Jackery. If it's something smaller that only needs 30 or 40 watts, then either one will do. It just depends on how much capacity you have. Now, while we're talking about charging and ports and stuff like that, let's go back to the solar input. If your solar panel has this XT60 connector on it and you want to use that to charge, then obviously the Anker is going to be the way to go. Now, a lot of solar panels now are coming with USB-C charging capacity. Some of them even have a power delivery output, and those would be compatible with the USB-C inputs, so in that case, either one would work. But if solar is something that you're targeting to charge this up with, then maybe, again, the Anker would be the way to go. Now, in addition to all the features that they do have in common, I think we all know that this Anker here has some features that are non-existent in the Jackery, and that's going to be the lantern. So we've got the ability of turning on this light here, popping up the lantern, and making a little camp light out of it if you want to. We've got the option of hitting the SOS button and having this thing blinking an SOS signal. So if you're going to be taking this thing camping, you want to put it in the tent, use it as a light source, then obviously the Anker is the way to go. And while it's important to understand the features that they do have, it's also important to understand the features that they don't have. So neither one of these power banks has any type of AC charging capability. So no inverters, no ability to plug in, one of these guys here into it. So if you have some device that needs that, you're going to have to go with a bigger product. And of course, these two name brands, Jackery and Anker, both make bigger products that have AC inverters built into them, as well as other leading brands such as EcoFlow. I've done a lot of reviews on those. If you want to check those out, I've got some reviews on the channel. But these are definitely not the devices for you if you need any type of AC capability. So with all the features listed out and a comparison of them, let me talk to you about some of the use cases that I've used these for. Now, the use case that I probably use these things for the most, and I've talked about it in both of the reviews of these products, is keeping a handheld gaming device charged up while I'm playing it. So for example, a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch or something like that, even the PlayStation Portal, I'll sit on the couch, I'll have one of these next to me, have the USB-C cable going straight USB-C right into the device, and it's going to definitely extend the playtime of that before I have to go put it on a charger. And with that type of device, if you can figure out what the ballpark power draw is on it, maybe let's say 30 watts or 40 watts, whatever that power draw is, it's pretty easy to figure out how much time you're going to get out of these. So if this is 100 watt hours and I've got a 25 watt device, that's basically going to give me another 4 hours of playtime on it, in addition to the internal battery. If it's a 33 watt device, then obviously you're going to get about 3 hours. And then do the simple math for this one, you'll know that it's going to be ballpark around twice as much playtime. Now, like I said, that's probably the number one use case that I've had for these. Throw it next to the couch, stick a cable into it, and play some games. Another thing that I recently did on a road trip is I had these set up on the nightstand at a hotel, and it just makes a nice little multi-port charger. If you've been in a hotel recently, you know that the USB ports that they have on the nightstands are just garbage. They usually don't put out very much, maybe 1 watt. So if you want to charge up, an iPad and an iPhone, maybe your Apple Watch at the same time, it's just not going to work. Some of them get really hot. Some of them basically look like a fire hazard to me sometimes when I go to a hotel. So having a known good power source, something that I can charge my devices with overnight, and then just charge this thing up at the next opportunity, that's going to be another use case I use these things for. So to summarize all that up, which one of these is better? That simply depends on what your use case is going to be and what your needs are. Hopefully in this video I've listed out the differences to make it easy for you to understand which one would be a better device for you, which one's going to suit your needs better, and in the same time, if you have any questions about either one of them, then go ahead and drop those down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. But I think that's going to wrap up this comparison video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got something out of it, I do appreciate a thumbs up. That helps out the channel. If you want to see more reviews on products like this, or I've got an individual review on each one of these, once you decide which one you want, go ahead and watch that review. I'll go ahead and link those down in the description below also. If you want to check either one of these out at Amazon, I'll leave links down below also. Those links do help out the channel as well. I thank you for that in advance. But I think that's going to wrap this one up. I thank you as always for watching, and until next time, peace out and geek out.